Three-way market here at BetMGM. Croatia minus 210, Albania plus 600, the draw plus 333. Total is 2.5. 2.5. Albania losing 2-1 to Italy in the first game after scoring 20 seconds in. The quickest goal scored in the history of the Euro tournament, 20 seconds in, but they lost 2-1 to Italy. And Croatia got smashed by Spain 3-0, but had a billion chances, just couldn't convert any of them. Any thoughts on Croatia-Albania game 1 tomorrow on Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, Croatia, a really, really heavy favorite. I think a lot of people will probably, we talked about this, will want to play on Croatia. Terrible first result, but like a veteran group has a ton of success at a lot of international tournaments. Like they'll figure it out. And maybe they just won't. They've gotten bet like they're going to figure it out. Like, so we were -1 open everywhere. Now we're like 1.5 in a bunch of places. So interest in Croatia so far. Would probably only play Albania, right? At these kind of numbers, just to keep the game close. Total, I'm not going to have strong opinion on totals other than like England unders going forward, probably. So nothing on the total. Would probably only play Albania. Not a super strong opinion.
Do you want to listen, I want to bet. So I'll put a couple bucks on this here.
+1,
not like a huge bet. Albania, I'm looking here. Albania +1 and +1.5 is -130.
Yeah, that would be my preferred bet of anything in that match.
Okay, so I'm going to do that. So I'm in on Albania +1 and 1.5 for tomorrow in the opener. I will also do a +1 and 1.5 later in the segment. So we're on the same page there for Albania, Croatia. The second game tomorrow is Germany against Hungary. Germany is the host nation. Germany, they've gotten bet out big time here, right? Germany now -375 to win this match in the 90. Draw +525. Hungary to win in the 90 +950. The total at BetMGM is 3.5. Juiced way under. Under 3.5 -175. Both teams to score. Yes is +100 if you think Hungary can get one home against Germany. The Germans allowed 0 shots on goal against Scotland and let up a goal, but that's Scotland. Hungary did score against Switzerland and played a pretty wide open game. Ken, you had the over in that game this past weekend. Yep. Any bets for you in Germany and Hungary? I actually think this game might be a pass for me.
If I'd play anything, I'm just looking at open to now. There hasn't really been any interest in the total. Three -110 each way, widely available in the match. If I had to bet the match, I'd probably bet either that or Hungary. I guess you could do both teams to score, because I feel pretty confident Germany's going to get at least one. Switzerland scored twice. Germany, much better, generated a ton of chances. So maybe I think it's either over 3 or both teams to score. I think it's one of those, with the idea that, like, what do you think is more likely? Like Hungary getting 1, or do you play the over because sometimes it's like 4-0 or something like that? Maybe the answer is Hungary to score instead of over 3. But I no interest in like the spread or the money line.
My trepidation with that, and of course, like, it can win. My trepidation with that is like, what if Germany, what if their defense is just awesome? Now Scotland's bad, like Hungary's better than Scotland. Just like, what if their defense is really good?
Yeah,
like, what if that's,
I think
that's the case?
I think the fun thing about these matches, and with Croatia, it's the same thing, right? You're taking a big leap of faith by betting any of these matches. The leap of faith in betting Croatia is like, well, I know it looked bad, but they'll figure it out. And the leap of faith here is like, well, like Hungary can score. Like, I think they can score in this match, even though Germany was really like, you have so little to go on to base stuff on.
It's a zag a little bit, right?
A little bit for sure. I mean, I guess so. Just I think the book on Hungary is that they play high scoring matches and they score against teams that are really good. But you're right. Like, just if we're doing like the first match to now, Germany allowed literally 0.00 even expected goals, which is just like insanity. Yeah, I don't know if both teams to score or over, some combination of that.
Okay, I'll pass Germany and Hungary, but I'm looking forward to watching it. And I will have a bet on the next game. So this will kind of, Ken, fall in line with the Croatia-Albania bet. So Scotland against Switzerland. So Switzerland, like, looked really good. Like, beat Hungary 3-1. They claimed 3 points. And they're playing a Scotland team that, like, could not have been worse against Germany. Got absolutely outclassed, got absolutely destroyed. Switzerland to win in the 90. Just -120. I think that's going to be an attractive bet to a lot of people. Scotland +333. The draw +250. It is a big-time zag. What about Scotland plus a half and +1 -135?
Well, it's interesting. You say it's going to be an attractive bet to people. I was expecting to look on the screen over here and see that Switzerland had gotten bet out. I was expecting to see that based on, I think, what we both saw from the first matches. Hasn't happened. Scotland actually got bet a little bit in a couple places. So there isn't that overreaction to the first game that maybe you're expecting in this match. That's just not how it's laid out right now. The under has gotten bet pretty hard, and I think that's easy to understand based on what we just said about what Scotland did against Germany. Okay, well, they're going to play Switzerland now, but maybe it's the same thing. Maybe they just can't generate chances. Just if you're going by movement in the market, I think the zag is to bet the over. I think that's the zag in the match. Scotland basically couldn't score, had no shots, market moving hard under. Maybe you get like a 2-1 kind of a game, like with Switzerland's first game. Just if you were trying to do the, like, how is the market moved off the first match? Because it's funny, I agree with you. Like, I look at it, I go, oh, kind of like Switzerland, but it hasn't gotten bet out. I'm actually kind of surprised by that. I don't really have an explanation. There may be people think Switzerland's just as undesirable.
Do we want to do over 2 and over 2.5 minus 120? So I'll push on 2, win on 3.
Teams to score? Scotland's team total is Scotland's team total is probably a half with plus to the over. That would be my guess.
Both teams to score, yes, minus 110. Yeah.
Oh, I think plus money over 2.5. Or we're even at 2.5 in some places.
That's what I'll do. I like this. I'll do 2 over 2 and 2 over 2.5 over 2.5 minus 120.
I want to ask you about France. Obviously, one of those three teams. Like we have to do the Mbappe story, as you mentioned. A fun name for people to say. A pretty gruesome injury yesterday, and Antoine Griezmann. I know, like Nick was remarking on this when we were doing the show during the match. Like just people flying into boards, people getting elbowed and headed. Like a lot of blood during the France match. And it turns out, it's being reported that Kylian Mbappe was basically the best player in the world, or one of the best players in the world, likely to miss France's next match. So doesn't score in the opener, but they win. Isn't likely to play in the next match against the Netherlands, who I know you liked coming into the tournament. Pretty interesting market. France still favored in that match, but pretty small favorite. So kind of short-term, long-term here with Mbappe. Obviously, if he doesn't play against the Dutch, what do you make of that match? And then if he's got to kind of be in and out of the lineup, wear a mask, playing with a broken nose, like how much does that affect France's long-term chances?
Yeah, so in the immediate term, I came away far more impressed with the French defensively yesterday than I did in attack. They basically allowed one chance. It was the big chance that Maignan made a great save on Baumgartner right before halftime. France then scored down the other end on an own goal. But, Deschamps has kind of made this work, not doing anything out of possession, not being a possession giant, not really pressing, not really forcing the issue, because he says, look, we have incredible dribblers in space. We have the most talent. We have the best midfield passing range. We have Griezmann. We have Mbappe. And we trust that at the end of the day, that's going to win us matches. And it's no surprise that France's dominance of the world stage started in 2018 with Mbappe's breakout. And so it's just not the same team without him. And there isn't anybody that has that game-breaking quality and pace. Dembele has always kind of been a little bit of a poor man's Mbappe on the other side. And, they push Thuram out there and they put Giroud in. It's going to make them more direct, even more direct than they already were. And going up against these Dutch center backs, I just don't see a ton of goals in this game. And I think the same is true for the Dutch, who don't really have a midfield and they're playing an extremely direct style. And it worked against Poland, but they were extremely narrow against Poland. And the French center backs, not just Kanté as a defensive midfielder who looked very good in the first start, but also Saliba, who for my money is one of the best center backs in the world. Him getting the start upgrades the French defense. So I think this is kind of a stalemate-y kind of game. I did bet some under 2.5 at minus 117 this morning. I think it's a low-scoring affair. As far as France long-term, I do expect Mbappe to put the mask on and play. So as long as his breathing's fine, I think he'll be fine.
So your favorites to score the Golden Boot, the most goals in the tournament, for people who don't know. Okay, so Kylian Mbappe was the favorite. He doesn't score. He's going to miss the next match. Then he's going to wear a mask. Okay, that doesn't sound great. Harry Kane doesn't score for England in the opener. Ronaldo maybe doesn't even get featured in the starting lineup going forward for Portugal. He didn't score today. These are the three favorites going into the second group of games. This is really interesting. Some other players have scored. I don't think anybody even has 2 goals in any of the single matches. Jude Bellingham scores for England. Havertz scores for Germany. But it's like a lot of, man, what do we do now? So in about a minute, what would you do now? Like, do you want to drastically change your opinion or change all of our opinions on who we think the leading goal scorer will be in about 60 seconds?
Kai Havertz took a penalty. He's probably a guy I would look into here because I do think Germany scores a bunch of goals in the rest of this group stage. Hungary looked pretty shaky out of possession defensively. I have major questions about what the Swiss look like against a team that can keep the ball against them because Hungary really took it to them then in the second half. Once they had to defend without the ball, the Swiss looked very vulnerable. So Havertz, especially since he took that penalty, very encouraging for his chances. Here's where I insert my Romelu Lukaku joke. I got some 21-1. I wish they gave out the award for XG as Golden Boot. I feel like I'd be in first right now because he had 2 goals ruled out, and then he had 2 big misses. And I think Belgium is going to truck offensively in their last 2 group games, because if you look at the opponents, I know Romania had a nice showing, because they hit 2 beautiful goals from outside the box, but they're going to face a much more potent attacking team in Belgium. And then Ukraine looked really bad defensively in that game, the first game. So Belgium is still going to get through. I think they're actually a good bet to win the group at plus 250. And then as you look, I know everybody's probably thinking you're an idiot, but
15 seconds here.
Lukaku and Havertz are the 2 guys for me right now.
Lukaku and Havertz is like
no Murata. I think I might be on Team Murata here a little bit going forward.
I've got him I have him most goals and him most biggest La Liga goal scorer also, and like Havertz and Lukaku is like the Chelsea greatest hits.